right, hello everybody. This is Devin of Defcon Economics back with another video. In fact, episode number 10. This is entitled Money versus Currency, the Big Difference. So in this episode, I felt like it was going to be important to discuss the difference between money and a currency. And is there one? Because for a lot of people, we use currency and money interchangeably. But as I have come to discover over the last several years, that is an incorrect usage. Money is not currency, and currency is not a money. There is, in fact, a difference. So without any further ado, let's just discuss what we're going to talk about real quick, and we'll jump right into a video after that that discusses the difference. Okay, so currency is something that you use in your daily life. It's the US dollar that you hold, whether it's a 1, a 5, a 10, or a 20. Please feel free to look up the definition of a currency. You'll see that I'm correct. It's those paper units inside of your hand. So now, if you think about what money is similar to a currency, but as you're going to see, it also has to be a tangible long-term store of value. And that is the key difference. But why just take it from me? Let's take it from Mike Maloney, who is a gold and silver expert, a hard money expert. Many would argue that he's an Austrian economist, which is a school of thought that argues for sound money and restricted government spending. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to suss out, again, the difference between money and currency. Let's listen to Mike.
One of the reasons that we are in the financial mess that we are today globally is that people do not understand the difference between currency and money. Currency is a medium of exchange, a unit of account. It is portable, durable, divisible, and something called fungible. Fungible means that each unit is the same as the next unit. A dollar in my pocket buys the same amount as a dollar in your pocket. Money is all of those things plus a store of value over a long period of time. Even financial planners, bankers, your accountant, they don't understand the difference between currency and money. The currency in your pocket is a medium of exchange. It's a unit of account because it's got numbers on it. It's somewhat durable, it's portable, it's divisible in that you can make change, and it's fungible. A dollar in my pocket buys the same amount as a dollar in your pocket. But because governments can print more and more and more of it and dilute the currency supply, it's continually transferring wealth out of your pocket, out of your bank account, to the government and to the banking system.
Okay, so that is the difference between money and currency from Mike Maloney. That was his very first episode of Hidden Secrets of Money. I urge you to go over there and check it out. It is a fantastic 10-part series that will really give you quite possibly the best understanding of modern and ancient economics and how it works. So moving on, I wanted to discuss these two things here, which is a gold certificate and a silver certificate. And the reason I wanted to do that is that now that we just saw what the difference between a money and currency is, we need to see how our currency started its life cycle, which is as these certificates, not even notes, certificates. So here you see a silver certificate, paper money guarantee, and it is a $5 bill. And if you are asking yourself, well, what's so different about this $5 bill than other $5 bills? It's if you read down here at the bottom, it says 5 silver dollars payable to the bearer on demand. So we used to exchange our paper for a hard physical metal, silver, but that's a $5 bill. Now let's look at the $50 bill here. Okay, it says gold certificate. Excellent. What does it say down at the bottom? It says United States of America $50 in gold coin payable to the bearer on demand. So in other words, our currency used to act as a claim check. as a certificate, as an exchangeable unit for physical hard money, because we just saw that gold and silver are money because they're long-term stores of value. When Mike says gold, he's also referring to silver as well. And you can see that we used to back our paper certificates with hard assets, gold and silver. And we used to be able to exchange the paper for those hard assets. Now, I wanted to turn your attention to something I just found rather fascinating. This is from the federalreserve.gov frequently asked questions, and the Federal Reserve is the American central bank. They control the currency, the supply of it, the contraction of it, or at least that is technically what their job is. It's much deeper than that. I don't want to get too deeply into it right here because I just want to go over the article in front of you and read it out. So let's do that. Is U.S. currency still backed by gold? Now remember, we see here it was also backed by silver. We found out that currency is paper, money is gold, and by extension silver. So Federal Reserve notes are not redeemable in gold, silver, or any other commodity. Federal Reserve notes have not been redeemable in gold since January 30th, 1934, when the Congress amended Section 16 of the Federal Reserve Act to read, "The Federal Reserve notes shall be obligations of the United States. They shall be redeemed in lawful money on demand at the Treasury Department of the United States in the city of Washington, District of Columbia, or at any," I apologize, in the city of Washington, District of Columbia, or at any Federal Reserve Bank. Federal Reserve notes have not been redeemable in silver since the 1960s. The Congress has specified that Federal Reserve banks must hold collateral equal in value to the Federal Reserve notes that the Federal Reserve Bank puts into circulation. This collateral is chiefly held in the form of U.S. Treasury, federal agency, and government-sponsored enterprise securities, or in other words, stocks, bonds, and treasuries. So why is that an important statement? Well, the reason is that you can see just by this statement they're asking an important question. Is our currency still backed by a money? Because again, we just saw here with Mike that gold and silver are money. We used to exchange our paper notes for hard physical assets. And here, this is basically an admittance of that. The Federal Reserve is saying, well, we used to back it with gold, and it basically, I mean, for them, it got so difficult trying to lie to the world that way that they decided, to heck with that. And for whatever reason, the world has gone on with it. Now, I just thought it was important to draw your attention to that. I don't want people hearing this video and thinking, oh, gold and silver are money. Well, yeah, but who says so? Well, the Federal Reserve is basically saying it is by saying it used to be backed by gold and silver right here. So let's move on to this article that says, "Why Gold is Money, a Periodic Perspective." And I love these types of articles where it just shows you a couple of different things, right? So here it tells you why gold is money, and it talks about why silver is money. Silver tarnishes, which makes it a slightly less appealing option. That's okay. It's still gorgeous. And this is basically a little slide presentation of why gold is money. But what I want to do is just read you this top. We won't go through this middle here because it's kind of some jargonized stuff, but that's okay. I recommend to go read it if you want to. Again, that's visualcapitalist.com, Why Gold is a Money from a Periodic Perspective. So let's read Why Gold is Money. The economist John Maynard Keynes famously called gold a barbarous relic, suggesting that its usefulness as money is an artifact of the past. In an era filled with cashless transactions and hundreds of cryptocurrencies, this statement seems truer today than in Keynes' time. However, gold also possesses elemental properties that has made it an ideal metal for money throughout history. Sanat Kumar, a chemical engineer from Columbia University, broke down the periodic table to show why gold has been used as a money metal for thousands of years. Again, as a monetary metal for thousands of years. We just talked about money and currency. Let's keep that in mind. Okay, here we go. Super briefly, this here is a process of elimination, talking about why gold basically ended up many different times as a money. It was through trial, error, and it always has proved itself as a money for 5,000 years. Very few things on earth have a 5,000 year track record. Gold and silver both do. So basically, it says here, once the above elements are eliminated as monies, you are left with silver and gold and palladium, rhodium, and platinum. Rhodium and palladium are more recent discoveries with limited historical uses. And gold as money is the most important part of the most important last part of the article. So gold as money. Gold does not dissipate into the atmosphere. It does not burst into flames, and it does not poison or irradiate the holder. It is rare enough to make it difficult to overproduce and malleable to mint into coins, bars, and bricks. Civilizations have consistently used gold as a material of value. Perhaps modern societies would be well served by looking at the properties of gold to see why it has served as money for millennia, especially when someone's wealth could disappear in a click. I want to read that last part once again. Oh, sorry, here we go. I'm all messing up. Let's read it just super fast. Perhaps modern societies would be well served by looking at the properties of gold to see why it has served as money for millennia, especially when someone's wealth could disappear in a click. That is a very important final sentence to just kind of dig into your brain and really get a hold of. Now, this is from goldsilver.com. This is their own website blog where they just kind of go over why gold and silver are money. This article is Why Buy Silver? 10 Reasons to Invest in Silver. This is from Jeff Clark, their senior analyst at Gold and Silver. Now, I'm going to give you a super brief primer on why I love silver. I think that if you hold vaulted silver with a quality company, you, over the next 10 years, are going to get a fantastic wealth appreciation. In fact, this is not financial advice at all. I am not a financial advisor. I am not a broker. I am not an investor, accredited investor. I am an investor, but not accredited. What I'd like to do is research, and silver has just some math around it that is absolutely fantastic. But I'm not here to make that case. I'm just pointing out that's why I like silver. The math around it is fantastic. Let's just read this. Number one, the number one reason to buy silver. Silver is real money. Now remember, we went back, money versus currency. We looked at the fact that our currency units used to be exchangeable. In fact, they weren't even currency units. They were monetary units. They were exchangeable for a monetary metal. And even the Fed has admitted that they used to buy gold or back it with gold for a reason. We looked at why gold was money. So now we're going to look at why silver is a money. Silver is real money. Silver may not be a part of our currency, but it is still money. In fact, silver, along with gold, is the ultimate form of money because it can't be created out of thin air and thus depreciated like paper or digital forms. And by real money, we do mean physical silver, not ETFs or certificates or futures contracts. Again, we went over that. Those are paper investments which don't carry the same benefits you'll find in this report. Physical silver is a store of value, just like gold. Here's why. Silver has no counterparty risk. If you hold physical silver, you don't need another party to make good on a contract or promise. This is not the case with stocks or bonds or virtually any other investment. It's never been defaulted on. If you own physical silver, you have no default risk. Not so for almost any other investment you make. Long-term use as money. A scan of monetary history shows that silver has been used in coinage more often than gold. It's true. Here you can see again, silver certificate. All right, that is fantastic. You know, hopefully we're tying things together here. That's my hope. Silver is a hard asset. I don't want to get too crazy into the weeds, but you can see here in this little image the point they're making. Your computer, your crypto, whatever it might be, the device you're using for those could be hacked. Your brokerage account, your banking account, your crypto account. Silver and gold are not digital and thus can't be hacked. Silver is currently cheap. Silver is more practical for everyday small purchases. Historically, silver outperforms gold in bull markets. Silver inventories are falling. Industrial use is growing. It can be used for solar panels. It can be used for water purification. It can be used in medical equipment. It is used in medical equipment. It can be used in 5G. It's got a use pretty much everywhere, anywhere you can think of. I apologize if you hear my dogs in the background and their collars. They can be loud every now and then. So, let's see here. So I don't want to get too much further into why buy silver. I just wanted to show you that it is a real money, and a couple of the other reasons they listed. I thought that was just a great, quick point to make. Silver is real money with no counterparty risk that's never been defaulted on, with a long-term use as money. Okay, now I wanted to start tying everything together. Okay, so I've made the claim, right, that there's a difference between currency and money. I went over our currency units. Oh my gosh, my dogs, I love them to death, but sometimes they can just be loud as all heck. I do apologize. But again, currency units, gold and silver, monetary units, exchangeable for monetary metals. We used to back it with gold. Why? We went over that. Okay, we went over the fact that silver is a real money and why it is a real money. Okay, now let's discuss the fact that central banks buy gold. Okay. Central banks, let's talk about what they do. Central banks serve a few primary functions, including setting interest rates, regulating monetary policy, and controlling the printing and circulation of coins and bills. However, their most important task is to provide price stability to their national currency while preventing banking system collapse. This is achieved through controlling inflation. Again, I did a video on inflation. If you haven't watched it, please go back and watch it. It's, in my opinion, great video for getting an understanding. This is achieved through controlling inflation, although COVID-19 has shown sometimes the fate of a country's currency may be difficult for a national bank to control. This risk is part of the reason central bank gold buying has increased in the last decade. Why central banks purchase gold? Let's go up. And this, by the way, is an article from Investing News Network, a fantastic kind of general source of all sorts of information. Gold, silver, stocks, bonds, you name it. They just do a lot of different stuff. Shout out to Charlotte McLeod, the gal who is the general host, does a great job. All right. Why central banks purchase gold? There are three primary reasons why gold is the reserve commodity of choice for national banks. Number one, to mitigate risk. Gold is a well-known safe haven investment prone to acting positively in times of uncertainty and market volatility. A quick pause. Yes, lots of uncertainty and market volatility. It is viewed as an asset that holds no liability, adding to its ability to mitigate risk. American banker and financier J.P. Morgan is famously quoted as saying, "Gold is money. Everything else is credit," highlighting another intrinsic benefit of gold, which is sustained purchasing power. Again, don't forget we went over that in the beginning and now we're tying it in. Central banks look to purchase gold as a hedge against a weakening dollar or any other fiat currency. I did a video entitled "The Absolute Ridiculousness of Fiat Currency and What It Leads to." I highly recommend that if you want to learn about fiat currency. Again, so central banks look to purchase gold as a hedge against a weakening dollar or any other fiat currency. So they print the currency, but then they purchase the gold as a hedge against it. Curious. Gold's role as a portfolio or investment diversifier also aids in its ability to mitigate risk. Central banks, such as the Dutch National Bank, have therefore traditionally had a lot of gold in stock. After all, gold is the ultimate nest egg, the trust anchor for the financial system, reads the Dutch Central Bank report. If the entire system collapses, the gold supply provides collateral to start over. Gold gives confidence in the strength of the central bank's balance sheet. That gives a safe feeling. Okay, so central banks buy gold because it appreciates against currency. Again, the difference between a money and a currency. To hedge against inflation is the second reason they buy it. Hedging against the effects of inflation is another reason why central banks buy gold. In its simplest terms, inflation is the rise in price of a basket of goods. In order for inflation to not dramatically impact a country's economy, the nation requires investments that are not tied to the dollar. Enter gold and the other precious metals. Many view gold, silver being the other precious metal. Many view gold as a barometer of the value of foreign exchange instruments. Gold's rising value is viewed as evidence that currencies are becoming devalued. Again, gold is a money, and its rise is viewed as evidence that currencies are becoming devalued because they're a currency, not a money. And the last reason that the central banks buy gold is to facilitate stability and growth. The primary function of central banks is to promote stability and foster economic growth. As currencies become increasingly devalued, banks must ensure their respective economies don't flounder. As such, gold is used to control the size and speed of market growth. Using Chinese and Russian central bank gold buying as an example, a global bullion report explains that emerging economies are especially exposed to free market excesses and use gold to offset the risk. Owning gold prevents these excesses from utterly driving currency and damaging industry. So that is not a fair statement there. That especially exposed to free market excesses, we do not have free markets. And if you try to argue for that, I will have plenty of videos with quite a lot of evidence proving that we do not have free markets. I can get you 6 ways to Sunday some proof for that. So now we know that central banks buy gold, and for a couple different reasons, but 3 main ones. Because it's a money, because it mitigates risk, it gives a safe feeling. Even for a central bank, it hedges against inflation because it can't be printed. To mine gold is difficult. It's only ever found in the grams per ton range. My favorite saying is peanuts to elephants. And the third reason they get it is to facilitate stability and growth. So if central banks or the main banks of countries are buying gold, this is why, because it helps them to balance their budgets, in other words, is the most basic reason I could give you. And I want to finish out with just, I believe, let's see here. Yeah, 2 quick articles. Okay, this is silverbarter.com/history. Really good quick article. I'll just kind of blaze through it and get you the skinny on silver. Silver has been an invaluable precious metal since its first major mining source was discovered around 4000 BC, or over 6,000 years ago, in Anatolian modern Turkey. I'm assuming Anatolia, maybe? Making it one of the earliest metals discovered by ancient man. Some other ancient metals were copper, iron, tin, lead, and gold. Silver's use as money in coin form, however, began around 2,600 years ago. Silver has remained in high demand by individuals and nations up to this day, mainly due to its natural rarity, visual appeal, and the multitude of uses in various applications. If we look to a stable, proven, and precious item to help us through difficult financial times, silver is certainly it. Below you will find the brief history of silver's use as money throughout the global history of man. And they've got some references, some really cool stuff here where it just kind of discusses that. And I don't want to read it all, otherwise this video will be an hour long, and I'm really trying to keep it sub 30 if possible. But here you go. Silver has been valuable for a very long time. There's some references right there for you. Don't forget they buy gold. We talked about the fact that gold and silver are money. We used to exchange our paper currency, monetary currency, for monetary metals. We used to back our currency with gold. We have an idea now of why gold and therefore silver are money, why silver is real money. Why the central banks actually buy gold still to this day, all the way from back then to this day, banks buy gold. We went a little bit over silver's history as a money. Okay, I'd like to end with an article here from Schiff Gold. This is from Peter Schiff, who's basically an Austrian economist, a gold he's pro gold, he's pro silver, he believes in sound money. Some people have arguments for and against what he says. Some people have issues with him and the whole silver, what I call the silver fiasco. That's fine. We're going to leave that to the side for now. What we're going to do is go over what he says about currency and money. So, for the majority of people, currency, more specifically fiat currency, is cold, hard cash. They are the dollars, pesos, or yen you keep in your wallet or purse. As such, currencies serve the function of being a country's primary medium of exchange in the form of coins or paper. In the pre-modern era, countries moved from precious metals to currency as a way to facilitate exchange among the economy's participants. Gold and silver and other precious materials were typically cumbersome and hard to transport. There was a need for a more portable alternative that served the same function and, most importantly, was backed by precious metals, gems, etc. Banknotes were once a type of currency backed by gold and silver in the US. As such, banknotes could be exchanged for legal tender, i.e. gold and silver, at any time by the owner. US silver certificates, like I showed you here, US silver certificates, for example, could be exchanged for their face value in silver. The adopted gold standard in the U.S. adopted the gold standard in 1987, and then they got rid of it in 1933, slowly but surely. Okay, let's talk about what Mr. Schiff considers money. Considering that a fiat currency's value as being backed by nothing tangible, the idea of money can be contrasted against it. Money, or commodity money, can literally be any type of commodity, from seashells to stones, which can serve as a medium of exchange for goods, services, and payment of debts. Unlike government decreed and issued fiat currency, commodities like gold and silver have an intrinsic or use value. Very true. The value of precious metals is inherent in their scarcity. Unlike fiat currency, which can be printed at the government's whim, gold and silver exist in a finite amount. There is only so much to be mined and sold, especially per year. I'm just throwing that in. Also, unlike fiat currencies in their economic systems, gold is immutable. It can't be created or destroyed, but can only change shape. It was created at the beginning of the universe and will continue to exist forever. Try applying that standard to the paper currency in your wallet. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. That's the case. We went over money versus currency from Mike Maloney. We looked at gold notes, silver notes, the fact that our monetary currency, as it used to be, was once backed by monetary metals, and that's how we rose to power in the world, guys. It's a fact. Look into it. Here is the Federal Reserve discussing the fact that it used to be backed by gold. Here is a look, almost like a physics perspective, of why gold and thus silver were and are still to this day the ultimate monies. This is why silver is a real money. This is why the central banks buy gold. Very important. If a huge, massive bank is buying gold, maybe you should look into getting some gold and silver yourself. Again, not financial advice. And we ended with silver's history as an invaluable precious metal, as a monetary metal. You can look here for yourself. Again, silverbarter.com/history. And we ended with Mr. Schiff's take on the difference between currency and money. And I really feel like hopefully we tied it all in together, guys. Hopefully now you have a good understanding of the difference between money and currency, because while it might just be one, at least as far as we looked at, it's a pretty darn big one that matters a whole heck of a lot. All right, guys. Well, if you enjoyed what you heard, please like, please comment, please subscribe. If there's anything I can do better, let me know. If there's anything you'd like to hear about, if there's a topic you'd like discussed, please let me know in the comment section below. All right, this has been Devin of Defcon Economics with episode number 10, a primer on money versus currency. All right, thanks so much for being with me, guys. This is Devin, signing off.